about this. Exciting player.
Man City spent almost as much, by the way, as the other 19 top-flight teams combined. Amongst City's signings, the Porto midfielder Nico Gonzalez, £50 million. Villa, of course, they brought in Marcus Rashford, Marco Asensio, Axel Disasi as well. Tottenham signed the highly rated Bayern Munich forward Mathys Tel, also on a loan deal, option, I think, to buy at the end. Joining us now to give us more...
So I thought that there was like a little bit of back and forth between them on the option to buy. And I was just like, hey, we just need a player in here. Just get the player in here. But I guess they got that option, so. But I don't know anything about this guy.
These European incomings to the Premier League. Our European football expert, Kevin Hatchard. Morning, Kev.
Morning, Kev. How you doing?
Morning, guys. Very well, thank you. Very well.
Now, look, tell us first of all about Mathys Tel, because I suggested a little while ago that...
When you say... Sorry, I'm reading the chat here. When you say Tel was forced, what do you mean by that? You think Tel was forced? He turned them down first, had been quoted saying his conversation with Ange changed his mind. I did read something about that where Ange convinced him to come to Tottenham after he had turned them down. He went to Spurs because he thinks it's the only option. Yeah, and they also signed a new center back, Kevin Danzo. Yes. And from what I hear, they're both available to play against Liverpool tomorrow. They both have trained and all of that. But so you think Ange threatened him? I guess I don't know how that would work. But see, here's the thing that's so, like, just not to get hung up on the rant that I just had earlier, but I wish that Luka could have turned down his trade. Like, I just can't fathom the fact that he just got traded against his will. He did not want to leave. He was very happy in Dallas, and they just stabbed him in the back. But, so, Mathys Tel, he rejected the trade at first, and then Ange convinced him to come.
A couple of weeks ago, unless you were an aficionado of the Bundesliga, you probably didn't know anything about him. So what sort of player are Tottenham getting, and will he fit in there?
So the first thing to say is that Mathys Tel is an exciting player. There's no doubt about that. I mean, this is Bayern's youngest ever scorer. And when he came to the club, he made an impact straight away. He is somebody that is quite versatile. He can play as an inside forward off the left, or he can play as a centre forward. He's quick, he's tricky, he is a decent finisher, he's good in the air. The thing about him is that there are a lot of rough edges to his game that need smoothing off, but you can only do that with game time. Now, he's actually had decent game time in the two previous seasons.
So you said it's insane that players can't refuse to go to another team. I never knew that players had that power until I started watching football. And someone says, it hurts when you always doing your best for your club, then you hear that you might be going to Tottenham. Di Maria. What a quote. What a flipping quote, bro. It hurts when you're doing your best for your club, and then you hear that you might be going to Tottenham. Hey, we have the manager, a great manager. We have always had great managers. We have so many great managers.
But since Vincent Kompany went to Bayern, he just hasn't really had much of a look in. And I think part of that is because he's not a winger that likes to hug the touchline necessarily in the way that a Kingsley Coman would or Leroy Sané can do on that right-hand side. And he likes his fullbacks to kind of underlap. So Tel isn't necessarily the greatest fit. It's quite interesting, though, because Bayern at the start of the window were quite relaxed about this. They were quite happy for him to stay and fight for his place, and the feeling was that he wanted to do that too. But since the turn of the year, he just hasn't had that game time, and I think that's convinced him to try his hand elsewhere.
Kev, what about a team that certainly look as though they need freshening up and a bit of life about them, Manchester City? They've had quite a busy window. Tell us a little bit.
Not gonna lie, that accent is tough for me. Okay, let me back up and hear what he said just there.
They've had quite a busy window. Tell us a little bit.
he just was talking about Manchester City, and he said they have a busy window, I think.
Out of Manchester City, they've had quite a busy window. Tell us a little bit
They have quite a busy window. Wow. I'm not going to lie, I was struggling with that one.
about Nico Gonzalez.
Yeah, I think he makes a lot of sense because this is a guy that came through the Barcelona academy, played a fair bit for Barcelona, but of course they're well stocked in midfield with Gavi, Pedri, Frenkie de Jong. So then he got loaned out to Valencia, moved to Porto, and he's done really well for Porto. He's a guy that will bring quality and energy to that midfield, and that's what they're desperate for. I mean, you look at how vulnerable they are in transition. You look at how many goals they're giving up. You look.
Said apparently Kane helped him as well. That's interesting. Okay, so what I want to do, I want to find real quick to see if I can find some footage of him playing that won't get me copyright trouble. So let me get some videos here. Well,
Football is on the.
my bad, guys. Mathys Tel highlights. The Bundesliga is the worst about about copyrights too. Here we go. I just want to get one quick look at this, and then we'll move on.
An electrifying hybrid of Louis Saha and Mane, or a Roy de Javinho. Just how good is Mathys Tel?
Is it Matisse? Or Matthias? Or Mathys? Matisse.
Die Bayern machen es halblang. 5 Minuten noch, Tel.
From a statistical perspective, Tel's numbers indicate he's a credible
Okay.
goal threat, albeit not at the level of a consistently prolific number 9. His XG reflects someone who does find himself in promising positions, but the conversion rate isn't elite yet. I think from the eye test, what we can see is that he's a player who blends raw athleticism as well as technical explosiveness. His right foot, his primary weapon, is capable of producing thunderous strikes with minimal backlift. He generates power.
Just by the look of it, he kind of looks like the player Ange would want in his system. Someone said this is a good channel for player analysis. Sweet. I'm not actually sure I'm going to react to this entire video. I'll probably watch this on my own, but because I have other videos that I want to get to. But let's look at the creativity. I really care about creativity.
And Müller leading it. And how about that for a finish, Leon Goretzka?
Statistically, in terms of creativity, Tel's assist numbers are strong, but I think this is inflated due to his crossing ability. If you look at his actual through balls, they're sparse, so he doesn't really have a central playmaking focus to his creative arsenal. What I would say is that in terms of his deceptive passing ability, this is fueled by his ambidexterity. He's a bit like a Louis Saha, someone who during the 06-07 season was very hard to read for Manchester United because opponents didn't know whether he's right-footed or left-footed. So when he ran with the ball, teams couldn't read when he's going to release the ball with which foot, and this opens up angles for passing. He's also quite a flary player at times, so he's unorthodox. And this can also lead to passes you never really saw coming, but these moments are sporadic.
Man, I do love the idea of an unorthodox player. I love creativity in football, man. So kind of excited about that, if that's the case. What are we going to see going on there? But all right, let's go ahead and say that's a good player analysis. I'll stop the recording on that. If you guys enjoyed this breakdown of Spurs' new signing, go ahead and smash like on the video.